Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts. So it's time for another Dawn and Julia Create. So we're doing a mixed media thing and we're using our cardboard as our base. I'm just going to read what I sent Dawn, then that way I keep myself straight. So last time I did the challenge, Dawn was kind of going, oh, I wish I had this and I wish I had that. So I listened and everything that she wished for, I started my challenge with that. So 2 distress inks, flowers, gems, souffle, white pen and sentiments. Those were the things that Dawn had on her wish list last time. So I was going to do the challenge just with those things, to be honest. But then I was like, oh, but like I like to work with the feature images and I've got a few favourites as well. So then I added a few of my favourites in. So we've also got cardboard, gesso, thread, a stencil of your choice, a focal image of your choice, and I've gone for that because it was one recycled item, so either a broken toy, piece of jewellery. So this is an old ring that I used to wear many years ago. Don't think I can even get it on my finger now. Yeah. So, and I just thought it went so well with that image. So that's kind of where my starting point was, that. Gouache and a black pen, and we've to make a mixed media project using a cardboard as a base. So hopefully this should be a good challenge for both of us, because I think we've got both of our favourites in there. And if we're missing something this time, well, I probably will still find that, you know, I'll be like, this is just cardboard. I think it was one of the things that, because obviously I order lots of packaging to send you all your goodies if you're ordering from me. So yeah, it was a massive box, so I didn't keep the whole box, but I was like, oh, it's terrible how I grade my cardboard. It was like, well, that's nice cardboard, I want to keep that. And then other cardboard, it's like, nah, I don't need that cardboard. So I actually have cardboard that I grade. I've also got favourite cardboard that I've not used yet because it's too nice. Yes, I am that sad. So I'm just exposing a bit of texture. Guarantee Dawn will do the same because we both love it, and it's one of the amazing things about working with cardboard is you have automatic texture right there. So yeah, absolutely have to do that. Now I have to say, working with flowers is not my favourite thing. As you can see, I buy plenty of them, but yeah, it's not really where I normally go. And I had an idea in my head, but then I wasn't sure on a feature image, so I went to choose my feature image, and now the idea that was in my head, I'm not sure that it's really going to work. So we'll just wait and see, because I was going to sort of gesso over all my texture, which I still might do. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be what it'll be. Right, so I'm just getting this off about 3 different areas, and then because I like to work in threes, I just think that makes it nice and even. So I want to expose the texture in a few different places. Now, both Dawn and I have been known to, oops, didn't quite want to go down that far, but never mind. Have been known to save these bits and add them as texture, but on this occasion I'm not going to. Do you want to know something? I'm filming this really in advance. Here, I can prove it. So last Dawn and Julia Create was this one, which I'm waiting for it to dry before I get to the next stage. So I'm actually filming ahead of myself, and I'm going to have to message Dawn and ask for the next few challenges because I've got the craziest busy couple of months coming up, so I'm going to really need to get ahead. Right, I'm going to get some texture paste now. White texture paste. This is my pretty gritty stuff. I love this stuff. And yes, I got a palette knife. I was going to say, please tell me all my palette knives aren't in the bathroom. I'm going to, this is my favourite texture piece in the world. I love it. Right, so I'm going to, again, get some texture on this. I've not cleaned this stencil so I can see bits of pink coming through, but as I said, to be honest, I think I'm going to be gessoing. So I'm kind of going to be at the stage today where I'm building it all up. That's why I'm doing it today, to be honest, because it's going to need built up and gel mediumed, and then it's going to need to dry. So I'm wanting to do that now, and I've not played with this stencil much. This is the Text Me stencil. It's one of mine. When I was on Telebox with it, it literally sold out in minutes. Sold out before I got down the counter, so I wasn't able to play with it. And yeah, I've been waiting until I'm allowed to put it on my shop. before I can start using it. So yeah, there we go. So I'm like, yes, this is the stencil I want to use. Don't know if it goes with the design I'm making or not, but it's the stencil I want to use because I've not used it yet. And I'm going to put a tiny bit over here as well. And then I'm going to wash this immediately because it's quite a detailed stencil, and if you don't wash your stencils after putting texture paste through them, you will destroy them. I mean, I have to say I'm not the best at cleaning, as you can tell, because everything's got a slight pink hue, but yeah, texture paste, if you don't clean it off, will kill your stencils dead. There's no coming back. Right, so I'm going to do that. I'll leave that dry. Well, not necessarily leave it dry. I'm going to do some more stuff to build. I'm going to sort of do all the building up stages at the minute, and then we'll be leaving it to dry overnight. And it's first thing in the morning, it's 10:30 in the morning, so it'll be well and truly dry when I actually get to it again. But yeah, I'm going to clean that, and then I'll be back. I have a little play with oh, a little bit of a frog. I thought I'd have a little play with some of these flowers and work out various layouts that I could possibly use. I'm just getting all sorts of different shaped flowers going on, so I think these ones I will most likely end up gessoing. Let's get some of these. Oh, I like the shape of these ones better. So these will all get gessoed over. I might sort of flowers that are the right sort of colour for my project, I might at some point add those later. That works quite nicely. Okay, and then right, I also have to think about where this possibly might go. I'll probably end up going in a very different direction because I'm not sure that that's actually gonna. That goes in the centre, then we'd maybe have something up there as well. The thing is with a mixed media project is you just have to sort of go one layer at a time, because you tend to develop your idea and things sort of change as you go, so it's never becoming, actually I don't want, I'll have a smaller. Yeah, you tend to find that the ideas change as you go, so don't become attached. I mean, I'd quite like to use that topper and things, but to be honest, if the whole thing changes, it's not the end of the world. I'll put that one, let's put that there. Okay, and then I'll maybe have that and a smaller flower. There, something like that. Yeah, I quite like that. I'm going for a Dawn styling there. Dawn says she always ends up with a diagonal. That's my diagonal just there. Right, so yeah, I'm going to roughly stick that down. I'm going to grab my thread first though. Oops. I'm going to grab a big bunch of this. Oops. She says, keeps catching on the thing. Right, there we go. And let's just get a whole load of that spread out, and then I'm going to put that down first, so I'll try and roughly remember how I had that. And we'll get this down, spread it out. I'll just, because this is a textured element, so it looks a complete hot mess now, but when it's in context with everything else, it'll look fab. Right, let's see if I can actually open my gel medium. Oh, going well. Right, so. And then this, as I said, I'll most likely come back to this tomorrow so that we've had a chance for all of this to dry. But I often find that when working on a mixed media project, as you just saw, I'm sort of working on the current week's Dawn and Julia Create and this one at the same time, and this is why, because there are sort of drying stages. I'm just going to stick some of that down with some gel medium, or we're going to lose. It's fine because we'll gesso over all of this, so it looks a hot mess now. Don't worry about that. It will look a hot mess. That's okay. Yeah, just to sort of stick it down. There we go. Yeah, so I quite often recommend that when working on mixed media projects, work on them simultaneously. So, oops, I've already stuck that one down. So yeah, if you're having a day with doing that, I would sort of be doing this, so this is drying and that's got into one stage, and it means, I don't know what I'm trying to say, honestly, words, ridiculous. But yeah, rather than working on one project and then trying to wait for it to dry and it being frustrating and force drying it, because I do think things like this are better dried naturally. I mean, you could use a hot glue gun for a temporary fix, and sometimes when I leave myself short, I'm actually going to find a few extra details for down there in a minute because I just think it needs it. But rather than kind of having that rush and panic of needing to do it now sort of thing, if you just sort of think, right, today's my mixed media, today's my sort of getting stuff stuck down, and then, as I said, because I've been sort of doing that already, I've got that other one to a stage where it's needing to dry, so while that's drying I'm working on this one. And you know, if you've got quite a few that you're doing like that, it just makes it a little bit easier. So I very rarely am working on one mixed media project at a time. You'll maybe see them come up on the channel one at a time, but that's not how I create them. I've normally got like loads drying, and then you should see me when I'm doing one for telly, because I have to have so many stages of it ready at the same time. It's like, oh dear, it all gets a bit crazy, and then end up with all these half bits. So that's the other thing, I've got some sort of things that I'd started, and I've got different stages of them sort of pre-ready. I don't think that's quite how I had it, but never mind. Oops, sorry, this turned out to be quite a long project, so the way it's showing on the camera is a bit strange. I've got that. Right, I'm just feeling like this bit here, just the way I've ended up putting it down, could do with something else, so I'm just maybe going to grab some other flowers and just build this up a little bit, because I'm just feeling that it's not quite as I would like it just yet. It's kind of needing a leaf, but I suppose the leaves are part of flowers, so I could pull one off a flower. Right, it's definitely just needing something just here. I'm going to go for leaves because, like, they came in the flower set. I think that's fine. If I'm in trouble, I'm in trouble. Although I set the challenge, so can Dawn put me on the naughty step for not sticking to my own challenge? Although I think it is, because it's like when you buy flowers, the leaves come in. See, that's just there. And now I've done that, I want one up here too, I think. The other advantage of gel medium is you have wiggle room, so I can just sort of change my mind a little. There we go. And also at this stage I'm going to get some of the gems. I will probably put gems on at this stage for texture, but I will also most likely have gems a bit later as well. Just trying to get some of those as actual gems. That's cool. I'm happy with that, I think. Do I want some leafage up the top? Yeah, I think so. I think we need one just about there, and then I'll bring this down so you can see it. Maybe move those a little bit. According to my camera, it's lost connection. Quite often it does this to me and it's fine, so I'm just going to keep going because I'm sort of right in the middle of stick. But I can't see what I'm doing, so I am sort of going blind at the second. But I've got to go and grab some gems so I can sort of stop and reset it at that point. So I've got some gems here. As I said, at this point, these are there for texture because they're going to get painted over. So I will no doubt add more that will match at another point. I probably really should be sticking those down with gel medium because when I start gessoing over I might lose a few. But yeah, it's fine, it's all good. So this is great. See if you ever buy like craft kits, which I have done in the past, and there's bits of it you love and then there's other bits that are just maybe colours you wouldn't use and stuff like that. Like these, can't ever see me using those in a card or a project. Possibly a steampunk one, but not like this, not on their own, but they make great texture elements when you cover it all with gesso. So, and the texture we're going to get off that burlap flower as well will be amazing, especially once it's sort of like got the what am I trying to say, once we've gessoed it and then sort of started maybe dry brushing colour over it, the texture on that's going to be brilliant. I'm just going to tuck that in a bit further. So yeah, it could be really fun. Right. I think both Dawn and I will have an absolute blast with this one because we've got all Dawn's favourite things and all my favourite things. Although right now I'm sitting there going, oh, I don't know if I want a feature image. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Right, so that is this stage all ready now to dry and do its thing, and I will be back with you when we start gessoing. But yeah, so far, happy bunny. Okay, so this is all stuck and I'm going to start to gesso. Now, to be honest, I actually can't decide whether I want black gesso because I'm thinking some of the colours of the gouache is going to look so nice on black, but then I also like the vibrancy on white. So I've come up with this plan that I'm going to do both. So we will see how that works. So my plan is I'm going to do black in this corner and white in the other corner, because I didn't say that you had to choose either or. I just said gesso. So I think this is a great master plan, whether or not it works. But this is the whole thing with mixed media and crafting. It's about experimenting and having a play. So I'm thinking that what I will do is almost, I don't know if this will work. That is the main thing. So whether this is going to end up needing some major rescuing at some point, I do not know. But we will find out. So I am going to do black this corner and white in that corner, and then sort of try and blend the two together in the middle, so we almost have a little bit of an ombre effect. That is the plan. So first of all, I will go on to fast forward as I do this because it will be a little bit monotonous. I do appreciate that, but for the minute I'll just have a chat with you. So first of all I need to apologise for the fact that we are a fortnight late with this challenge. It is completely my fault, and as you would have seen from earlier in this video, I was actually very, very ahead of myself for once in my life ever. I was actually doing this at the same time as I was doing the challenge that was a month ago. But unfortunately I got COVID in the middle of it and I had things change with work. I had a show changed and I had to pull out an extra show and do prep for that, and yeah, there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes into doing a TV show. I mean, there's obviously all the prep, and that does take ages. And although I didn't do the show, Leonie did it for me. I still prepped it for her. But there's also just a lot of paperwork and yeah, all sorts of stuff like that. And by the time I'd sort of got together with that, I did have a couple of days to get this make done if I'd wanted. But to be honest, I was absolutely exhausted. I didn't find that I got COVID too bad, to be honest. It didn't make me really, really ill. I had a headache the first day. Really, really vice-like headache, and then a sort of niggly headache for a couple of days. Got sore teeth, which was weird, but apparently that is actually a thing. Who knew? But the main thing is just tiredness. So, yeah, I'm just very, very tired. So, yeah. So I messaged Dawn, I was like, Dawn, I am so sorry, but please can we postpone it? So I do apologise, that's my fault that we are a little bit late with that, and thank you to Dawn for being so very understanding about it. I do really appreciate it. So that is why we're late, and I just wanted to explain that to you. I just wanted to confess, because it'll not come up in Dawn's video, because Dawn will have done it, like, you know, a month before we should have been ready anyway, because she's amazing and works ahead of herself. And my life goal is to be like Dawn when I grow up. That is what I want to do. Right, so that is the black side. I'm going to just sort of stop there with the black, and I'm going to flip it around. To get still got a bit of a tickle. Sorry guys. And then I'm going to get white this side, and then somehow, hopefully, sort of blend it in the middle. I've never done this before, so as I said, I have no idea whether this will work or not. So I'm going to get the white and go this side, and then I'm hoping to do, like, I'm hoping to transition it like I would when I transition with acrylic paint. I've never tried transitioning with gesso before, in all honesty, so I have absolutely no idea what is going to happen. I don't know. I wonder whether... I doubt Dawn will have done both gessos. That would be hilariously... That would be freaky deaky if we both decided to do black and white gesso on a project. I'm going to say black, because she quite often goes for black. But, you know, we have had a few challenges recently where we've completely surprised each other and done something completely unexpected. Like Dawn's watercolour challenge, didn't see that coming at all. So there's a few times I've said, oh yeah, Dawn will do this, and she's completely not. So, you know, we can surprise each other as well. Now, all of this is taking the gesso quite well. The burlap flowers is taking a little bit of extra tickling. Right, what I'm going to do is speed up until I get to the transition bit, and then I'll talk you through the transition bit. Try and transition this now. I'm going to bring the white up further because the black will contaminate the white quicker than the other way round. So let's get the black. I'm going to try and take as much off. So let's just get this. I'm going to bring that black into the white, and hopefully we should end up with a grey in this area here. I need to get some new black gesso, I think. Thankfully I've got some just there. The advantage of having a shop in your house. Although I've run out of gel medium, I'll have to order some more for me and the shop. Right, so I'm going to get this, and then, as I said, try and work this black into the white, like so. And then I'm going to try and work the white back into that, so it's going to bring the grey further down, but then hopefully we'll have like a pale grey and a mid grey. So I'm just going to keep swirling. I'm not sure if that's showing up in camera, but that has actually gone quite a nice pale grey across those parts. So it's just, I'm just going to keep doing this till I've got a more subtle blend. Basically I kind of keep bringing one colour into the next, but hopefully that should mean eventually that I have a nice transition. How many times can I say the word transition? We're getting there, I think. And again, this is just the first layer. By the time the colours will go on this, it's going to look completely different again. Okay. So I'm going to leave that to dry now. I'm going to get a brush that's got nothing on it now. And just try and go up that centre. So the fact it's got nothing on the brush, it shouldn't be contaminating either way, which hopefully means we'll get an even blend between all of those greys. Okay, so that is my base gessoed. It may need another layer. As I said, I might not do the transition area again because that's slightly more tricky to blend, I'm not sure. But I would definitely, there's definitely gaps in the black, so definitely the corners will be getting a second coat. But anyway, I'll let that dry and then I'll come back to you and we will continue playing. Okay, so we're all dry now, and I'm going to start doing some colouring. So I've gone with gouache, and the reason I chose gouache is Dawn is really into her watercolours. She likes using her watercolours, and she very often reaches for her watercolours when it comes to mixed media projects. And I like my acrylics. Much prefer my acrylics, more confident with them. So gouache is essentially a watercolour. It is pretty much, yeah, it is a watercolour, but it's slightly more opaque than a traditional watercolour, so it's got a richer opacity to it, and also if you put it and use it like this, thick straight out the tube like that, as opposed to in a palette like this, because this is it's the same paints but I've just got my favourite colours in a palette. You can tell I've not used them in a while, they're all a bit. Then you can use them like you would acrylic. You could paint on it and dry brush. So I'm actually going to push myself out of my comfort zone a little, and I'm going to start off using these like I would a watercolour. So I've just put in some colour down. I think I'm going to build up and have like pinks and yellows, but I'm thinking that this might be quite a nice background tone. So I'm going to let the water do its thing. So I was just getting a little bit of colour on. And then what I might do, these are Arteza gouache, and they have metallics. So if you have a look there, that says pearl white, but also if you look at the description there, it says mica and then the number. So if any of your gouaches have mica, there's going to be a pearlescence to them. So pearlescence will be cool for your dry brushing. So I'm going to get this to the stage where it's sort of moving around a little bit. That is the plan. So I may do some, so I'm thinking that this will be a base colour. We'll get this as a base, we'll get it moving around, and we'll leave it dry. And the trouble is, this actually has to be uploaded tomorrow, and I'm going out tonight, hopefully. My husband and I had planned to go away for our wedding anniversary this year, and then my daughter was really ill and we couldn't go. It was like a cold, it wasn't COVID, it was like a cold sort of thing, but she was really ill with it. So we ended up not being able to go. And friends of ours very kindly, I'm going to do the same up here. Friends of ours very kindly said, we'll treat you to a weekend away to make up for the fact that you've where's my brown colour gone? To make up for the fact that you didn't get your anniversary. So they booked us all in to, so my friend, she booked the 4 of us in, so her and her husband and me and my husband, she booked us all in to the Sheraton Grand in Edinburgh, really incredibly ridiculously posh hotel, something that we would never treat ourselves to. And the idea was that we'd go as a couple because there was a 17-room spa in it, and obviously the boys aren't quite as into spas as the girls are, so we thought, she says, well, if the 4 of us go, then we can sort of do a bit of everything, that we can do a little bit as the 4 of us, a little bit as just the girls and just the boys, and a little bit as couples. So that was all booked, and then literally 4 days before we were supposed to go, we all get COVID. So I didn't get that either. So see how different it looks on the black to the white. So yeah, what was I saying? I don't know. This is going to take ages to build up. I might have to just live with having some of the black and white there in the background. That's alright. Quite like it actually. So yeah, that was the point. So my husband and I tonight are booked to go to the cinema because I really want to see Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park, and whilst we weren't well the other week with COVID, we have binge watched. We have binge watched all the Jurassic Parks because we can see that it's very epic and that all the characters from all the different films are all going to sort of meet together, sort of in the last one sort of thing. So we were like, oh yeah, this is going to be amazing. We have to see it, and we have to see it on the big screen. So we've booked to go and see that tonight. So that's the thing, I'm out tonight, and then tomorrow afternoon my daughter is at our party. So they were at a school disco last night, which was incredibly noisy. But she's at a party tomorrow afternoon, so like I literally have today, which I know it's terrible that after being delayed that I'm now doing this last minute, but unfortunately I've had to prioritise getting prepped ready for going away for work and stuff like that. So we'll see how we go, but I'm determined that I'm going to have this done. So we might have to do a little bit of sort of drying in between with a heat gun, which I prefer not to if possible, but we will see how we go with that whilst I'm here. Right, so I've got the brown, let's go for a pink, and then so I'm sitting there thinking that we're going to have the watery effect here, and then I might sort of go in and paint the flowers a little bit more predominantly. Now this pink has a mica in it as well, which means I could be saving that till later. I'm going to actually just mix it with the top. Also severely running out of brushes. But look, we've got the exact same colours that we're using, exact same colour palette, but this is on the black, and down there we've got it on the white. And that's kind of where I was going with this particular project. So I might not get this as sort of covered as I would have liked. I was kind of imagining it having a bit more colour. And yes, I can build it all up, but as I said, it's just the fact that I'm dealing with the time factor as well. So let's get these two colours. We'll get the top and the brown together, and we'll get that. I'll leave it for a little while because I am working on the next Dawn and Julia Create at the same time. I've actually done another video today as well, so it's a video day today, trying to get that done. I love moving it like that, it's getting all the different grooves and things Also, I'm working on cardboard, so the water on this cardboard is, look, it's making this very wobbly. So I think we're going to have to dry it at some point before it breaks. But if need be, if this all just ends up far too floppy by the end of it, I can always just maybe sort of like gel medium another piece of cardboard behind it. But we will let that dry. I quite like the movement of that, as I said, and then we'll do the flowers in similar colours, but less of the water flowy look. Otherwise, I'm needing lots of water to get that to flow, but then it's all sort of sitting in the ridges, which is cool, but it's going to take it forever to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'll do the same at the bottom here. I'm going to let that dry a little bit whilst I do the next layer of gesso on my other project. I might do one of the other jobs on my list. I have got multiple jobs on my list today, and then I will come back to this at some point, and I'll probably just have to finish off what I was going to do. Like if I what am I trying to say? Honestly, my brain. What I'm trying to say is I will start off letting it dry naturally. I'll give it a little while on its own to sort of dry off a little bit, and then I will blast it with a heat gun just to finish it off. But I will try and do a few jobs in between just to give it a little bit of time, but I don't think I'm going to be able to give it as much time as I would have liked. So I'm just getting some of this pink everywhere, and we'll blast that with a bit of water. This is a tall, mind you, I always say this is not anything like I had in my head, but I genuinely don't have things in my head. I have the sort of black to white part in my head, but what I was doing after that I have no idea. Right, so got that sort of moving about, and then I will let that dry, and I'll come back to you when we are dry, and we'll look at filling in the, I quite like that. I'm going to have to decide whether I like it here. I like it on the white, it works quite well with the shadowing behind it, so whether just a little bit of dry brushing on the edges of that will bring it together, I don't know. On the black it's not quite as successful, so we will see. We will see what occurs. Now I do also have the ability to add a feature image, so if the black isn't overly successful I could sort of just put a feature image on that, but we'll see. It's not the end yet. If it's not right, it's not the end. It's not the end yet, so we'll just have to go and see, and I'll need to remember what other things I've got on the list. I think we've got souffle. I can't remember whether I put gilding wax down or not, but yeah, so there's lots of other things that I could do to sort of lift that bit of the black. Okay, I will be back soon. So it has had a little bit of time drying naturally, and I've force dried it a little bit. We do have a bit of a weak spot just about here. I think it's going to give way at some point. I was hoping when I force dried it, it would crisp it up a bit like copier paper does, but it didn't overly do much. So yeah, that I think what I will do is when I finish up, it'll not be something that I'll do on camera because I need to carry on with the project really. That's just the way it is. I need to sort of carry on with the project. But if I had more time, what I would do is sort of stop at this point, back it with another piece of cardboard about the same, and just reinforce that a little bit. So a bit of gel medium and another bit of cardboard, it'll be absolutely fine again. So what I am doing, I am really liking this half. I'm really not so keen on this part. So I think I like this little washed out look going on, so I'm going to stick with that at the top, and then I'm going to have a contrast and fully paint in. I'm just going to add a little bit more colourage to the actual flower, but I'm going to keep it that sort of washed watery look. There's just a few bits in there that are just a little bit more intense. They've ended, it's obviously where I've put a globule of paint to start off with, so I'm just sort of going to soften that and leave that as is. I want to knock that back again. So soaking it with water after it's been ages drying it. Right, so I'm going to leave that half as is because I like that. And then what I'm going to do is paint these flowers in full. So I'm going to use this paint now almost as I would use an acrylic. So look at that. That's gorgeous brightness there. So I'm going to take these 3 paints. I'm going to have 3 different shades because I like using different shades and tones, as you're aware. And as I'm working on this, hopefully whatever's going on up there will start drying. If I can open this. I'm just a little bit discombobulated because I've just had a delivery of stamps. Half of them are missing, which is not so good. So I've sent an email off and I'm hoping that will be resolved or enlightened or something at some point. Right, so I'm going to start off with the darkest and I'm going to go into the centre and the deepest parts of the flower, like so. Get right in there, and this is what I love about gouache, is that I am most comfortable using acrylic paints on my mixed media projects. And it's just where I naturally feel happier. But I can sort of get, not actual feel of acrylic, but I can sort of get that similar coverage. It's not quite as strong. That's very bright. I don't know that I want it to just keep it that bright because it's going to contrast an awful lot with that. We do want the 2 sides sort of looking like they belong together. So I am just going to work away at this with the 3 different colours. I'm going to try my best to get that all covered up. I think I'm also maybe going to have to come in with white as well, so that it and that top colour that we had. So I might put a blob of white gesso out just so it reflects, so it looks like it's all one piece. We kind of want it to look like it does up there, but a slightly different tonal value of it, not a completely different cover of it. Actually putting that top in has made a big difference. So I'm just going to keep working away at those principles that I've carried on. I'm going to carry on, darken the centre, getting lighter. I'm going to mix that top in as well, and then probably once I have reached the end of that, I will blend in just a tiny bit of white onto some of those edges. But you know, this is a process that is going to take a little while, so I'm just going to pop you on to fast forward as I do that. While this is drying, I was having a little think about the feature image, and I've got this book here. It's a Jane Davenport one. It's one I got bought ages ago, and it's Whimsical Girls, and it's meant to be used as a journal, so it's kind of like a starting point. So you can either sort of journal in this, or it's got perforated pages, so you can pull it out to add to your own journal. And I was originally thinking that the sort of craft ones might have gone quite well with the colourways of this, but I don't really like any of the imagery. But I did see this one, and it's got these sort of beigey colours, which we've got more up here, but then we've also got these sort of slightly more purpley pinks, which is we've ended up with down there. So I was thinking that might tie the two together. When you do this, it does mean you are sacrificing one side, but I'm not overly keen on that, so I'm not too bad. So I thought I'll fussy cut her out. I can't remember whether I just said words or whether I said Dawn's words, but I'm going to cut those words out and then double check what I actually said to Dawn, and then work it out from there. And I might cut out these little swatchy things there as well, and we can have a little play with all of that. So I have double checked, and I did say Dawn's words. but that just looks so pretty with it, and it belongs together. So I'm tempted to put myself on the naughty step and accept whatever punishment Dawn gives me. And also, I completely forgot that we were supposed to be adding a recycled element. Forgot about that minor detail. So, I think I had a ring pulled out, which no longer goes with the project, but I found this. It was a hair clasp. I've just literally pulled the back off it, which I can't find now to show you. So we are going to have to assemble all of this. Now again, because of time, I am going to use a combination of my hot glue and my gel. So that is that glued down. I have gone with that image, that sentiment. Sorry, Dawn. I hope you'll forgive me. I am willing to accept any challenge that you give me for being on the naughty. Well, I kind of put sentiments brackets yours. So does that count? The bracket? Oh, I don't know. Nah, quite frankly, I've been naughty. I'm sorry. But it just goes so well. I couldn't not. Right, so I have gone through always spot your products. I've gone through, and this one here, rose quartz, it goes so well with that colour there, and that colour there, so I think it works. And this is also rose quartz on the black, so it's a bit more goldy looking, so it's going to look a bit more gold down here, but I think it's going to work. So I'm going to get a hold of souffle. Now the thing is about souffle, it's a couple of things. It's very, very sad because I've not used this. It's an amazing product and I love it, and I'm actually going to have to use it because Craftbox UK has now closed down, which is very sad. So it's no longer, I feel a bit bad using it because it's no longer available to buy, which is very sad. Also, it means if I allow my jar to go hard and don't use it, I'll not be able to replace it. That'll be it. So I am going to brush this, add it to my flowers and bits and pieces. Now this does need to be left to dry naturally. That's according to the manufacturer's instructions. I always like to play with my products, and I can see why the manufacturers say that, because if you heat or try and let this dry with a heat gun, it does tend to go a little bit milky, and on this occasion I really don't want it milky, so I am going to let it dry. Now the trouble is that could be morning time, which is going to make getting this ready on time a little bit difficult, but I have a plan. I'm going to edit what I have so far so that I just need to put on the last little bit. Now I'm going to pop this round here as my shadowing, because normally I would shadow, but I actually don't want to lose the transition between the two colours, so I'm going to use this as shadowing. Also, I would like to do some dry brushing to knock these bits back with white gesso, but they're just a bit too wet at the minute, so I thought, well, and also that's a little bit in your face in comparison to the rest of the project, so I could put some added sparkle on, see what happens when I do that. Yeah, it's a little bit, in comparison with the project, it's very bright, which is nice because it stands out, but ooh, I've obviously not stuck those down. Hang on, can I get it back? Get some glue, stick those back. That was all part of my feature image. It's just like cut my feature image up into bits, so I'm claiming, well, I'm already on the naughty step quite frankly, so may as well go whole hog. I'm claiming it as part of the image. Now I'm not going to be able to get any of my glues to work. So yeah, I'm going to let this dry. Hopefully it'd be great if it was dry by the time I came back from the cinema and I could just film the last little bit. To be honest, it is late showing. I'm literally opening every single glue I've got here. Oh, honestly, I've got gel medium next to me. Oh, I'll just put on the souffle. It's an adhesive. There we go. That'll do. That's what's in my hand. There we go. Right, so I'm going to keep going with this, putting it around the edge. So instead of my traditional shadowing, I'm going to have some nice glitteriness as a shadow which will help her stand out. But I think this colour goes so well with all the colours we've got up here. I'm just going to put some in the crevices. It's not a colour, I don't think. This looks like a brand new tub, so it's one I got and I've not yet used. Probably because this is not a colour I use that often, so it's quite good to come out of the old comfort zone. And I just about, possibly, have, well, it's 10 to. My daughter comes out home herself now. She's got old enough that she can come home herself, although nearly as often or not she phones me on the way. She's 10, so we allowed her to have her phone, but she so sometimes she comes straight home and sometimes she talks to me all the way home, so I always have to make sure that I've got the phone beside me so that I'm available if she wants to call me as she's walking home. But at least I should have time to have a little quiet cup of tea before needing to do anything. Still got plenty to do. I've got a great big tick list for this week and it's now Friday, so I think some of the things might be getting moved on to Saturday, but that's okay, I can live with that because I want to be able to go on holiday and just enjoy being on holiday. I don't want to be trying to prep while I'm there and different things like that. I just want to be just enjoying it, just relaxing, spending the time with my family, and get that in there because it's still quite brown from when I was a bit heavy-handed. I have no idea what this is going to look like. This is the magic of stuff like this. You know, I'm tapping it all on. No idea what it's going to look like. So it's cool. It's like a mousse. And I suppose you can't get hold of it now, but like, I suppose if you were to have like a very heavy-bodied gel medium and add some sparklies to it, you might get a similar effect. I'm going to have to work out how to do that now. That might have to be a video, working out how to make something like souffles, seeing as we can't buy them anymore. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm going to put quite a bit in this corner actually. We've got a nice heavy sparkly corner, and I'm going to put the same down here so that we've got our corners all sparkled up. And as I said, I'm going to let this dry naturally, and I will either be back late, very late tonight when I get back from the cinema. So excited. I know I was talking about the cinema earlier, and you know, so yeah, I'm looking forward to actually going out with my husband, because every time we've tried to go out and do something, something's got in the way of it. But at least it's cinema, but it might not be a posh weekend away, but a bit of time together, which would be nice. And my daughter hates Jurassic Park, so it's not like we could have taken her along anyway. Just terrified of it, so got a friend doing some babysitting and we're all good to go. Right, oops, just trying to see if I can get in behind there a little bit so you can just about see that at certain angles. There we go. Right, that's me, definitely me this time, and I will see you in a minute. Okay, so it's now morning time. Look how sparkly. It's so pretty. You see the sparkles. It's looking really good. I did have a fit of conscience and I pulled out Dawn's words, but I don't want black words on it. I'm so sorry, Dawn. So, Dawn is well within her rights to put me on the naughty step. Now, because I started editing this last night, the bits that I had, I just had to finish this off, and yes, we went to the cinema and it was amazing. But while I was editing it, I realised there was actually 2 distress inks on there as well, which I'd completely forgot about. So actually that's worked out quite good, because it does mean I can sort of add just a little bit of extra colour to the edges and get it framed. So I'm using Victorian Velvet because I think that goes really, really nice with this. I think it just adds to the richness of that colour, and then I'm going to bring it down here as well, so there's a touch of that on the black and grey areas too. It's fab. So the last thing I am going to do is I'm just going to do a tiny bit of dry brushing, just because we've lost some of the textury bits here, I want to bring out the flowers a little bit more. I'm not going to do a lot because I don't want to knock it. I like it how it is, and I don't want to knock it back too much. Oh, a really stiff brush here. I'm not sure if that's going to be the best one. And I just want to catch a little bit of that texture so that you see it a bit more. So not a lot, sorry, completely doing that off camera. And then, as I said, I just sort of want to catch the edges of these flowers down here. This brush is terrible. Get the other one, it's completely shedding. It's shedding bristles. So a tiny amount, and just sort of catching the edges of it. So I just want that, as I said, just the texture on that to stand out a little bit more. That's good. Because as I said, we seem to have, there's like stencils and all sorts going on this. I just want to catch some of those bits, and I definitely want to knock this jewellery bit down a little bit. So a little bit on that. And so just looked at the dry brush now. I just want to knock the colour back a bit so it blends with the whole thing, and I'm just going to try and get that texture there from the stencil. But yeah, I'm good with that, so I will just clear the desk and show you it in all its glory. Okay, so that is it all finished. Yay! I love it. And as I said, with watching the video, I realised that I pulled out Hattie and all of that, and I had a ring in it. So, but as I said, that is because I stopped my project for a month. No, not a month. Yeah, 2 weeks. I stopped it. So I did it. No, because actually I was doing it early. So it was a month ago that I started, and then I pulled it up after a month. So I had no idea where I was started. I just sort of went from where I was. But yeah, I'm really happy with the results, and I'm so sorry, Dawn, that it's not your words. If you want to put me on the naughty step, I look forward to getting my challenge, so have a look for that on the channel. I may be doing a naughty step challenge. Be interesting to see what Dawn comes up with for me. Okay, so thank you ever so much. Please do pop across and see what Dawn has done. I always love watching her do mixed media because she's amazing at it. Can't wait to see what she has done. I can't wait to see what her recycled item as well, her jewellery or toy or something. That'd be fun. But anyway, do pop across and see Dawn. If you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing. And I will be back with some more crafty goodness very, very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.